private businesses do not like that much. But what we are trying to kind of emphasize here is delivering public policy goals and viable market through effective governance. Therefore, the authority and like the public authorities always have to play a key role to ensure the end user satisfactions, and then the citizens are the core here in all of these mass applications. The second is ticketing as a tool. So leveraging the phrase structure to achieve sustainability, equity, and efficient governance. This part aims to acknowledge that public transport is a utility and not a service market, meaning that public transport authorities usually offer ticket prices that are not market confirmed but compensated by taxpayer, and they have sustainability and equity policies in mind. And they do not wish to, for private sector to take this over and offer higher prices. The third one is rights and obligations for all. I would say that this is pretty much self-explanatory, but let's say that the key takeaway in this point is that vendors, meaning the mass platform operators, should be subject to the same rules as transport service operators. The fourth one is collaborative nature of public transport, impact on public service contracts. Here, I will not go into detail, but we mean that regulations on mass and ticketing exist to ensure that services that the market would not otherwise provide or would not necessarily provide. Yeah. The fifth point is data sharing. I don't like to say this word because I always pronounce it not correctly, so I will not aim to do that. But what I'll refer here is that ticket sales are providing important data for planning purposes for public transport authorities and operators as well. Therefore, if only mobility as service applications have ticket sales information and data on this, public authorities will lose a very important source of data. 6 is proportionality of investment. I would say this is also rather self-explanatory, but what we mean here is that regional and local authorities do not want all investments to go into the mass applications. In a lot of cases, we can see that both digital and physical infrastructure development is needed for these private investments. Therefore, it is very, very important to keep in mind that current public authorities also need a similar level of investment. Then the 7th is the consumer protection principle. Any integrated European-wide ticketing system should have at its core the aim of providing easy-to-find and easy-to-use sustainable mobility options that are accessible to all in accordance with EU legislations, for example, the Accessibility Act. It should promote active mobility as well as free of charge mobility options, be fully inclusive, and not be primarily driven by economic consideration. And finally, I would like to share a few insights about the different EU projects that POLIS is working on currently. I forgot to mention in the beginning, but there's a core work at POLIS that we have different mobility-related working groups that relate to different topics of sustainable mobility. I'm working on a mobility and traffic efficiency one, under which mobility as a service falls under. So here are a few projects that we are working on. They are either directly correlate to mobility as a service, either correlate to the mobility data space, the European mobility data space, which is currently under development, or, for example, in the case of Synchromode, Upper, Acumen, and Julia projects, they all want to develop different sustainable mobility services that will be integrated in currently existing mobility as a service applications. I'm not working on one in most of them. Therefore, if any of you are interested in get in connection to these European funded projects, you're more than welcome to reach out to me and I will put you in contact with the best person possible. And this was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sofia. Now the next speaker is Vittorio Gattari. He is Public Policy Director of DOT, and he will present us a micro-mobility solution. So we stay in the city, but with another perspective.
Hi. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, indeed, I represent DOT. For the ones who don't know it, we like to call us the micromobility partner of the main European cities. And I'll start by our mission. Our mission is to free our cities with clean rides for everyone. And within this mission and this sentence, there are multiple aspects I would like to underline. The first one are our cities. This is a problem that affects most of our cities in Europe, especially big cities. And we're speaking about traffic congestion, pollution, especially in Italy, Turin, Milan, but not only, are every day, every month, surpassing the pollution limit. And therefore, we need to collaborate with cities, and cities have to find solutions to mitigate this problem. How we do this? With clean rides, so offering trips which are 100% clean, which are 100% electric and sustainable, and lastly, for everyone. So we want to make sure that the micromobility and the sharing mobility is also accessible. It's also something for everyone, it's not something altruistic. We started in France, and today Italy is the country with the most cities. In few years, we have become the main player in Europe, being present in the main European cities. We won the tender in Rome, in Paris, in Madrid, in Brussels. So let's say we were called the capital operator. But since then, we started to collaborate with also medium-sized cities, because, for example, Italy, as we know, is not a country full of metropolis like others, but with medium-sized cities. And we found that, for example, the micromobility solutions could also work very well in either university cities or touristic cities, so every kind of city that still has the same problem of traffic and congestion. What differentiates us? First, we are fully European, and it's different from many other players. And then four other key aspects. We are responsible, meaning, and I will go into detail in a minute, that we decided to train and hire internally employees. So we built a business model based on in-house employment, differently to others. We are multimodal, so we decided to offer a service both with e-bikes and scooters almost since the beginning. We operate with scooters for 2 years, and it's already our third year now with e-bikes, because we saw from data that, for example, bikes are complementary solutions for micromobility. So it's not that we are cannibalizing our own user base, but we're offering another vehicle to enlarge our user base. For example, data shows that women prefer bikes to scooters, or older people prefer bikes to scooters. Therefore, being multimodal is the right choice, in our opinion. Third, we are pro-regulation. We spoke just a second ago about the relationship with the cities. When all this industry started already 7 years ago or something like that, it was the chaos in most of the cities. There was no regulation, and many players decided just to put some scooters on the street and let's see what happens. We decided to have a completely different approach to go to speak to the city and say, we want to collaborate with you. We believe in our mission to free our cities, but we want to do it in a proper way. So we were the ones in favor of tenders. We were the ones in favor of selecting and reducing the amount of operators. And since then, now the majority of countries, the majority of cities are actually authorizing these services, limiting the amount of operators, limiting the amount of scooters, setting up some rules, for example, for the parking, for the speed limit, and so on. And we were, I can proudly say, the first ones to be pro-regulation. Lastly, we are integrated. We believe that every one of us in each different role has to do its part. We're not here to see the public transport as our competitor. We're not here to see our vision is a vision with zero cars. No, the vision is let's do everyone its own piece to be fully integrated and, for example, build proper in and out solution for the cities. So you're coming from an outside town, then you need to maybe arrive with your car or with your train, but then your last mile can be done via scooter or via shared bike. Or you're within a urban area, so you can move with public transport, but again, your first or last mile can be done with a shared mobility. Therefore, we are fully locally integrated to amplify public transportations and other forms. And this is also, let's say, the premise for the mass, which I will arrive in a second. Some numbers, we're currently operating with 40,000 scooters, 10,000 bikes in more than 50 cities in 7 countries. And for the business model that I explained, we currently have around 600 employees. How does it work for the users, just for the ones that don't know? It's a full digital experience. So you find the vehicles on an app, you register in the app, and you see on the map the scooter and the e-bikes close to you. In the app, distance and battery level is always visible, so you can actually see how far the bike or the scooter is and what the battery level usually should be. If we did our job, should be enough for you to run your trip. Before the first ride, each rider must complete a registration process, including a payment method, in most of the times also an ID verification, so that, for example, we make sure they're not under 18, for example, in Italy can ride it, and agree to comply with local parking and riding regulations. What are these? Again, collaborating with the cities allow us, for example, to set up a speed limit, not only the one decided by law, which in Italy, for example, is 20 kilometers per hour, but, for example, an even lower one in pedestrian areas. I always say this is a way more regulated and automatically regulated system than any other car or